Hello YouTube, in this video we will be terminating RJ45 ends onto your Hemlip. So we're starting at the physical layer and we're going to work our way up as the series progresses. So currently I have shielded CAT6 cable that we will be using for this tutorial. It's the same thing practically with a couple less steps if you're doing non-shielded cable. So I figured it's easier just to show you with the shielded, and then if you don't need the shielded, then don't use that section of the video. So essentially, we're going to get started here. There's a few tools you will need. One, you will need a cable crimper. This is a true cable, true crimp. This is a crimper for specifically, not specifically, but this cable crimper will allow you to do shielded cable. Since I'm doing shielded cable, we're going to use it versus the other tools I have. So I'll put a link in the description for both a shielded and an unshielded one. But obviously, if you want to possibly do shielded in the future, you should buy the shielded crimper. Another tool I like is these cutters. So lining up once you line up all the wires in a row in the correct order, you cut them, and it makes it real easy to push into RJ45. I highly recommend these. These are Klein tools. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not sponsored by anyone for this YouTube video, but another tool I like to use is these flush cutters. If you're doing CAT6 and it is a good quality CAT6, this makes it easy to clip the spline, and you see what I mean later to come. And last but not least, you don't need this tool, but this is a cable tester. This makes it so much easier to see if you have a problem with your cable. So it just tells you where the problem is, and you can cut the line off, fix it, and go from there. So now that we got that out of the way, I went ahead and crimped one side of the cable already, but we will be crimping the other side in this tutorial. So when you first start making your cable, the first thing you're going to want to do is slide these strain relief boots on each side. That way you don't forget if you have them. They're not 100% necessary, but they help protect the cable over time as you're yanking on them. It reduces the strain, hence the name. So yeah, cool. For shielded, there's a couple of things you can do. You can use these foil strips, which I highly recommend for shielded, or you can just use the shielding that's around the cable, or it's foil essentially, and that's what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So let's get into it. First thing I'm going to do is strip. So this true cable has a strip feature, so I just do this. I twist not much at all, and then I can slide this off. For shielded cable, unshielded cable, you can ignore this. First thing we're going to do is peel this foil strip back. So you kind of work it out and you fold it down, right? You're also going to notice there is this. It's a little, just a little bit of metal. We want to take this before the foil strip goes around and wrap this around the cable. That way we get a good solid connection. So now that we folded that foil strip down, we slowly work at it, and we can keep working on the cable. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is on CAT6. There's this little thing that wraps around, or at least on high quality CAT6. It's just a little piece of plastic. We're going to pull that down and cut it off with these flush cutters. And if you go like this all the way around, okay, so cool. And then you're also going to see this pull cord. We want to cut that off as well, as close to the bottom as we can. Okay, that was a bad snip, but we'll do it again. Oh, wow. Let's see. Okay, cool. So now I am going to pull these wires down, and I'm going to get rid of this divider. Essentially, all it does is it separates the wires, and it helps get higher speeds through your cable, and it's better for when you pull the cable through the wall. So I'm going to take this at a slight angle downward, making sure I don't nick any of my wires. Slight angle downward, and I'm going to cut each one of these 4 pieces of the ripcord. So you can see there's 4. So we're going to do that. Cut each of them. After you do that, you're going to twist it a couple times, and it's just going to come right off. See, just like that. Cool. With that out of the way, we're going to untwist each of these twisted pairs. So what I like to do is I like to start untwisting it and take the little piece that we cut off or we stripped, and it just makes it nice and easy to unwind the cable. We're going to unwind them all, and then we'll put it into order. We'll straighten it out and put it in order after we unwind them all. So there's 2 standards. There's T568A and T568B. Essentially, different companies use different standards, or different countries. So in the US, they typically use T568B. Other countries may be different, but it doesn't really matter as long as you pick a standard and you stick to it. And this one's giving me a little bit of trouble, but I got it. Another thing to take into account when you're buying a box of Ethernet, do yourself a solid and just get the copper, full copper. The copper clad aluminum isn't the best. So the order for T568B is orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. So we're going to put that in order: orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. And we're going to keep trying to straighten out these as they're twisted in the wire. CAT6 is a touch harder than CAT5, and full copper is a touch harder than copper clad aluminum, but the quality of the cable really does matter. I've had a lot of issues with CCA cable, especially if you're running any PoE applications. So anyway, I got all that straightened out ish. So we're going to keep straightening it out until it's practically all the way straightened out. See, it just takes a few minutes. And this is CAT6, but it same procedures without cutting the ripcord, or no, the ripcord's still there in CAT5e, but it's the same procedures for pretty much any other cable. The only difference is the shielding step that we took, and the divider that's going up the middle. So orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. And I have my connectors. So I have a shielded connector in this video. One thing to take note is if you have the True Cable True Crimp, there is a pressure bar. For shielded cables, at least the True Cable RJ45 ends, you're going to want to loosen this screw and turn the pressure bar off. So you see that little screw? We're going to loosen that and push this all the way to the end, turn the pressure bar off, and tighten it back up. Cool. You want the pressure bar on for normal RJ45 ends. So if you were using this, if you were using the copper strip, what you'd want to do is you'd want to cut this shielding off, right? And keep this on if you're using this, but you just cut this off like that. Okay. And it makes it a little bit easier. Then you take your copper strip, take it off of this. Sometimes it can be tricky. Push it down a little bit. You want to make sure this is a good wrap. And you're going to push that up and around. A touch lower than your conductor, and you should be good. But yeah, you can do it either way. Okay, so now we're going to push the RJ45 end on. Start putting it on to the jacket. Make sure all the conductors are in there. And push it in. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to keep pushing in. And see right there, I can see the green after this. That means I'm good. So this is on a traditional cable. This is where it would press down to hold the cable on the end. But shielded is a little bit different. So anyway, we are going to give this guy a good old crimp. So you would want to push your cable in, and since we're using pass-through ends, oh, see that guy kind of got out of whack. Just make sure your cable, all your ends look good, the ends, since we're using pass-through, and we're gonna pull that. It's gonna crimp all the wires, and that's gonna be good. So the next step for shielded is gonna be doing this back piece. So I'm going to pull this up, pull it up, start by hand pushing this over. Okay, see that? That's what you kind of want. And then this has a ground crimping section. So I'm going to put the cable in here, and I'm just going to push down, get it lined up. I'm going to push down, and it's going to crimp the ground. Cool. We'll verify that went good. Okay. We'll do it again. Okay, yeah. So, also, if you want to make a crossover cable, you would swap T568A and T568B standards. So I plug it into the tester, I hit test, and you can see it has a pass, and it shows it's shielded. So that means I terminated the shielded cable correctly. But yeah, it can get difficult. Just keep going through it and get it done. Awesome. I mentioned about the crossover is it connects two link networking devices together. To make that, you cross the T568 standard and the T568B standard. So if I'm connecting a router, a regular router, not an ISP provided router, because when you're connecting to the ISP provided router, that is a switch router combo. So if I'm connecting to a router, I would use that. A router to a PC, I would use that. So two link networking devices would use a crossover, but that's not really needed anymore, but it's just good practice to do so. So when you have your crossover cable, it is going to look like this. This tester will actually tell me it's a crossover, but you may not have that type of tester. So essentially 1 is going to go to 3, 2 is going to go to 6, 3 is going to go to 1, 4 is going to go to 4, 5 is going to go to 5, 6 is going to go to 2, 7, 7, 8 to 8. So we're essentially, the crossover just swaps the send and receive side on the cable, so that link networking devices can send data.